One of the things we're going to do here with your entree into the operation is we're going to dive deeper into original enterprise reporting with you.
Good.
And one of the early ways that we're talking about doing it is getting out into communities to tell specific community stories, small communities, large communities, what they're dealing with in today's changing world. What are their great success stories? What are their biggest fears? What are the things that are frustrating them the most as communities? And we're asking people throughout the month of April to submit a 2-minute video on their case or 400 words here that you and I and the rest of the team here will go through and select several of these stories and have you go out to these communities to talk to them directly about what they're facing and what they're dealing with and how they're doing it. What do you want to extract from them in a process like that?
Well, first of all, to let people know that no matter what size community they're living in, their thoughts, their concerns, their needs are important. The other part is a more lofty look, a more historical look, because even the framers of the Constitution knew that the federal system, the republic, was not the be-all and end-all, that the states, the smaller units, were the crucibles where all the great ideas came from, where all of the fights would take place that would later percolate up. But then the states realized it was the cities that were actually the crucibles. The smaller the communities, the more freedom they had to have ideas, the more freedom they had to fight with one another over those ideas. And because I come from a small town, I'm very interested in seeing what it is they have to say. What are those views? But then also to bring, Rick, to those communities the fact. Because the smaller the community, the more the community has a tendency to listen to each other, and they trust one another, as they should in smaller communities. But sometimes the facts are not exactly correct. So what I'd like to be able to do is go into a community, listen to everything that everybody is saying, and then delve into the records. Delve into the information, find out which side has the weight of the evidence on their side, and be able to present a fact that doesn't end the argument, but gives everyone, even the opposition side, to look at the information and say, I never thought of it that way. Then, nobody said that to me. I didn't realize that was part of the deal. And to help people along in making their decisions, making their lives better.
Sure. Let me turn this around for you a bit, just as Doug gets over on this side. What do you want to ask of me? I mean, what do you see as an opportunity in all of this for the public to understand how it all works together from our perspective?
Well, without giving away any proprietary information, one of the questions that I would ask you is, how big do you want to be?
Yeah.
How far do you want to go with this idea? Is this a regional play? Is this something for the state? Is this something for the upper Midwest? Or are you, as I see you, the game changer for news delivery?
Yeah, it is a news distribution service. That's what we're about here. And we're going to start with Minnesota. And we're already, by radio, we're covering 85% of the state. And obviously digitally, we're everywhere.
Right.
There's the mobile platform and the social media play that we're doing here. But the longer term game plan for us is absolutely, and it's not that long term, by the way, it starts soon, is to see this operation move into new markets around the country and to become the bring me the news of community X, Y, or Z in whatever state makes the most sense for us out of the gate. But ultimately, this is about local news and scalability of a local news concept.
I would ask you, too, what is your game plan, without giving away any of your trade secrets? Because there are so many people in the field, there's so much information being provided. So many people are getting their information digitally, and they're trying to form their opinions, their informed opinions, on what they're being given. How are you going to, and how have you been able to elbow your way into that big mass of information that's out there and saying, we're the primary source, come to us and you'll have very few questions?
Well, the big guys have made it easier than it might otherwise be, okay? Because one of our chief values for consumers is the simplicity of the layout of the news. If you come to us to find news, it's really easy to figure it out. You know, where it is, the stories, you can get them in short, little condensed forms or deeper forms that go to many different sources on a given subject. And you go directly to original sources, wherever they are, that our group of journalists have curated, have pulled together, thought about, and put together in a thoughtful collection, okay, around any given subject of the moment. So many of you look at online news today, pick your site. It's about pollution. The noise level is extreme. You're trying to figure out what's going on today. And you get this coming up in your face, you know, and you get a lot of banners over the page, and there's just a lot of noise and a lot of pollution to have to navigate. And a news source shows up. Is this a credible source? Is it not a credible? How do I know? You know, that's the job we give our journalists. The journalists we hire here apply their journalism to finding the best that's out there in the market day to day. Every day somebody shows up and bring me the news, we want them to be exposed to a source they never would have gone to on their own that may support their belief and their logic on issue X, or it may refute it. You know, but it's a vetted source that we have pulled together as part of the total curation, right up there with the major news organizations that they'll identify in Minnesota and other places. So if there's been any kind of part of this on the digital play for us, it's been to declutter the space, simplify, and whatever we do in terms of the growth and the development of the site, never lose sight of that principle, that it's not about how much can we jam in here, it's about how much can we thoughtfully place in an uncluttered, clean, easy-to-use format that's going to help people get it at a real thin level or a real deep level, however they choose to consume it.
You know, one of the most exciting things for me about Bring Me the News is that it offers not only one source for the information, but gives people an opportunity, if they are reading something that doesn't fit their confirmation bias, that they want more information than that piece that has been provided from an outside source that you have aggregated and brought in for them to look at. They want a different view. You have the ability to put them in a different look.
Yes.
And let them see and let them develop the informed opinion, because at the bottom line, and I hate to keep bringing this up, but Jefferson was right. The most important thing about the democracy is not somebody's opinion, it's the informed opinion. And how do we inform our opinions if we're not looking at all sides of an issue so we can arrive at our own understanding?
You know, one of the things that surprised me in the course of all of this, we did some focus groups not long ago, and one of the things that they were saying, just kind of collective, they started off on this riff about, this is the most unbiased news site I've ever come to. And I'm like watching them on the other side of the glass, you know, as the guy behind the thing going, how are they getting there specifically? I'm just kind of curious, you know, how are they doing that? And the way that they did it was they said, well, you can go right down this page and you can identify content that definitely skews politically one way or another way, or is maybe neutralized in the center. It's like they're doing it without regard for where it lands on a political spectrum, which, you know, particularly in digital media, the evolution has been to go toward a party.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
toward a party play.
Exactly right.
So I learned something from those guys that one of the byproducts of putting together the news the way we do is it's a slam dunk in the unbiased space, because the objective is to make a point of curating the argument across spectrums to show people where the news is, and to allow them to uncover more, deeper, with any given source.
Right, and you give them the power. The power is given to the people to make the decisions. Can you imagine Forbes Online writing a long take on NAFTA, and then say, for a completely different view of NAFTA that disagrees with what this is just reported, go here? Do you think they would do that?
No.
But here, you know what? They may, because if this model works and resonates, and it's already, of course, it's working wonderfully, but if it grows hugely, then this model may end up saying that somebody like Forbes, the New York Times, puts a link in and says, here's a different view. Take a look at it. I think it's the most honest form of journalism you can come up with.
Well, hey, man, we are looking forward to having you. We really are.
I can't wait to get started.
Okay. Thanks a lot for doing this.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for asking.